With a spark and a flash, I ignite. Ampamine here, coming at you with some more Payday 2. Now, this is something, again, that is going to be modeled, basically, the gameplay is unrelated to, well, indirectly related, I suppose, but not directly related to what I'm actually talking about. It's just something very nice visually and orally, you know, to stimulate the senses while my dulcet tones serenade you. So, I am here to speak about Crimefest 2015. Now, I was lucky enough to just kind of happen to fall back into Payday 2 right around the time that Crimefest was rolling around. I am really, really glad that things lined up that way, because Crimefest always tends to be pretty exciting, honestly, in its own little way. I mean, it's a video game. It's something that I would say, you know, isn't like, oh my god, I'm not staying awake at night thinking about, you know, what's going to be revealed the next day in Crimefest, but it's definitely something that I like to keep up with, and obviously a lot of the Payday 2 community absolutely loves to keep up with this sort of thing and discuss it and argue about it, as, you know, it's the internet. Everybody's going to be arguing. It's absolutely unavoidable on the internet, but, you know, part and parcel. So we're currently in the run-up to Crimefest 2015, and it's that run-up spans from September 28th to October 14th. Now, Overkill revealed their first couple sets of goals for, you know, that need to be met before they will release their secret content that they've been working on since their last update, their last major content update has been released. Obviously, it's the internet, so certain corners absolutely exploded in giant, huge plumes of vitriol and bile, and pretty much most, if not all, I would say, of the controversy centers around 3 of the goals that they've released so far. The Overkill has stated that they want 2 of their voice actors, Pete Gold, who voices Hoxton, and Damien Poitier, who voices Chains, and Eric Edibon, who's the actor for Dallas in their Payday 2 web series. They have released 3 goals, each of which is for each of those actors, voice actors or real actors. You know, they're all actors, and I will refer to them as such. But Overkill wanted to surprise the actors and released goals for each of them gaining 50,000 followers on Twitter. Now, a lot of people aren't at all happy with that sort of goal being set, and truthfully, I can see a lot of logic in their stance, mostly because I, for one, absolutely loathe with intense, burning hatred when I am asked, you know, however strongly. Sometimes it's just a nudge, and other times it's a pretty hard shove to join a social media platform for something completely unrelated, like a video game. So for people who don't really care about Twitter in any way, you know, asking them to join Twitter for the sole purpose of getting content for a game they enjoy released seems a bit much. And maybe I'm absolutely willing to admit that I'm probably completely insane in my opinions on this, but I'm not a huge fan of, you know, the every possible crack of our interactions fitting into some sort of social media platform. I'm all for social media platforms in general. Go for it. Friggin' awesome, amazing. Thumbs up, do what you want. But at least let me, keep things separate. I do not want all portions of my life integrated, because I think some things need to stay separate. For example, I have extremely conservative grandparents. I really don't want my grandfather knowing that I'm spending hours of my free time shooting police officers, digital police officers in the face. That's something that I think he's aware of, the generalized fact that I play a lot of video games, and that a lot of video games are violent, therefore, QED. But it's something that I'm sure, is he is quite content to remain blissfully unaware, quote unquote, of, and that's something that I'm not in any rush to disabuse him of that sort of ignorance, so to speak. And it's so having everything be integrated into one single platform, and having all of that information disseminated indiscriminately, I hate that. And that's just a really long-winded way of me saying that I hate it when people ask me to join a social media platform, because if I want that sort of thing integrated with any sort of social media that I'm using, I, as a general rule, will have already integrated that, with it. For example, the Payday 2 community group, I'm absolutely perfectly willing to join their Steam group, because it's Steam, it's about video games. I'm, willing to share the fact that I like Payday 2 with other gamers. That's perfectly fine. That actually makes sense. Twitter is much more nebulous due to the fact that there's no center. It's just a generalized media platform, whereas Steam is absolutely centered around video games. So that's something I completely understand where people are coming from when they don't like Overkill asking for people to subscribe or follow to people as part of their game content release event. And it makes a lot of sense, but that's since I at least try to see both sides, I'm absolutely not impartial, but I do my best, which sometimes probably doesn't really work out anyway. But I'm actually inclined to agree with Overkill on this, come down on their side, because despite the people like me, perhaps, or for whatever other reason, they don't want to follow people on Twitter. That's perfectly fine. All right, it's nobody's really going to tell you that you're a horrible person for whatever reason you have not wanting to do that. Anybody with sense will not say that you're a terrible person for not wanting that. But truthfully, I want to believe what Overkill says when they released a small update that let them track certain additional stats that were related to the goals that they had released, and they had obviously they're paying attention to the big hubbub that some people kick up, and basically just said that they wanted to give something back to the voice actors and live action actors who had given a lot to their project over the years. And I think that's perfectly acceptable for them to want to basically return the favor in something more than a purely monetary fashion. I think that's really cool. And I will agree that, you know, every business exists to make money, basically, and that's obviously very, very reductionist and very cynical. But at the very core, every business exists to make money, you know, to generate some sort of useful capital, if you want to generalize even further. But basically, businesses exist to make money. And I'm sure that, you know, alright, Overkill may not be doing this sort of thing out of, you know, the generosity and kindness out of their hearts, but at the end of the day, it's getting really talented people more attention, and truthfully, I think these people deserve it. I absolutely enjoyed watching the Payday 2 web series before Payday 2 was even released. It was actually a really cool teaser. You know, you've got these pretty talented live-action actors. Basically, you know, it's following the story of the game. It was pretty cool. I definitely enjoyed it. And the voice actors are definitely, unquestionably talented people. So at the end of the day, you know, it's doing something good. So even if it is a very, very clever tactic, which, you know, that it can't have gone unnoticed. You know, it's this has undoubtedly gone through the hands of many marketers and, you know, public relations type people. And, you know, because it's very clever. Truthfully, it's basically it's something that, you know, helps the people who've dedicated a ton of time and effort to their project. It generates hype for their game, because even if people don't like it, polarizing people, you know, getting people to discuss and argue, even if you have a very vocal minority, you know, that absolutely hates what you're doing, you're still generating a ton of attention. And that's their goal. That's what they're going for, is getting more attention for their game, and it accomplishes both of those things in one fell swoop. So, I mean, honestly, that's pretty freaking brilliant. But even if there are, you know, business-related benefits that directly benefit Overkill, again, at the end of the day, it's benefiting people who deserve to have, you know, something benefit them, I think. And, you know, the side benefits for Overkill, alright, yeah, they're definitely there, but, well, it's no big deal. Again, they're not harming anybody, and if people don't want to participate, they don't have to participate. And if it's something that, you know, they feel strongly about, then honestly, this is something where I would urge them to vote with their wallet. You know, keep playing the game, keep enjoying the game, but say that, you know, you don't like what they're doing in the most pointed way that you can, and not purchase it. And I genuinely don't want to sound like that, you know, if you don't like this, you can just go home. Because, well, I suppose, again, at the end of the day, that is what I'm saying, you know, with a negative spin on it. But I'm an absolute proponent of people voting and making decisions with their own money. You know, it's truthfully, it's really, really impactful, because that's the bottom line for business, is how much money they make. So that's something that, you know, you can actually affect things based on whether you do or do not purchase something. So, you know, and that's why I encourage people, if it's something you want to see more of, purchase it. If it's something you don't want to see more of or don't care about, don't purchase it. It's, you know, fairly simple concept, but I guess we're humans and we like to complicate things. It's pretty sure that it's just a species-wide illness at this point. Anyhow, the other goals are much, much more mundane. Gaining 1 billion total experience across the entire Payday 2 community, kill 15 million enemies, complete the Meltdown map 100,000 times, which I'm kind of okay with, because I think the Meltdown map is really, really fun, even if it is kind of frustrating, because it's, you know, how do we add challenge? Line it with snipers! Oh, great. More snipers. But yeah, it's pretty tame stuff. Definitely doable as a community, and you know, it's something that even if people don't want to be involved with any of the voice actors on Twitter, this is something that, you know, those people can definitely get involved in and participate in with, you know, fully fledged vigor and vim and vigor. Piss and vinegar, I suppose. And yeah, it's something that we all get to play a fun game. You know, chat with interesting new people, get yelled at by not particularly interesting new people, and just generally have an enjoyable time, which is what I would hope Crimefest is all about. Overkill's been pretty quiet about what the actual rewards for obtaining all these milestones are, you know, what they're going to actually give if the community does meet the goals that they've laid out. But given last year's Crimefest, I think honestly things are going to turn out pretty swell all around. It's probably going to be, if not absolutely amazing, honestly, I doubt very, very much that it will be bad. Yeah, at the very minimum, it'll be okay. But given the really, really awesomely, what I feel at least, you know, pretty awesomely high quality of the Hoxton Breakout and Hoxton Revenge heists that were linked with last year's Crimefest 2014, I think, you know, I think it's reasonable to expect that they're gonna pull something pretty cool out of their hat. So, yeah. Keep heisting, everybody. Keep, you know, as they say, keep those helmets popping. And that's it for my discussion of Crimefest as of today, the 30th of September 2015. This has been me, Ampamine, coming at you with some more Payday 2 discussion. Thank you all very much for watching. As always, I appreciate it. And I will catch all of you on the flip side.